Nigerian Senate President, bad governors, bad Nigerian governors, and EFCC. That is our topic today. Let me quickly start with recent quotes from an example of a governor here, Governor Moino of Akwa Ibom, during a banquet he held in honor of Senate President Godswill Akpabio. This was a banquet he held to honor him. Listen to this quote from the sitting governor of a state, of a federal state. A governor picked by 10 million Akwa Ibom citizens to govern them. This is what he said. I'll listen to his quote. Quote. This is his quote to Godswill Akpabio. Your Excellency, we would like to thank you. Well, to pay a thank you visit. We would like to pay a thank you visit to Mr. President across party lines. We would like to go thank him for standing by you and supporting you. We would like to go as a state to show that appreciation. And we know you can make that happen. Unquote, unquote, begging to go see Bola Tinubu, the governor of a state, a sovereign state. Really? Governor, federal state. What? He's begging, Umoino of Akwa Ibom is begging the Senate President to take him, arrange a visit with Bola Tinubu like a small boy. Wow. This is governor of a whole state. So Senator Akpabio is now the chief of staff to the president. That's his job now. What is Femi Gbajabiamila's job then? The chief of staff to the president. So Akpabio will leave the bad job. Akpabio is ruling the Senate in a very terrible manner. He will leave the bad job he's doing as Senate president. He will leave that to go around looking for ways to bring the governor of Akwa Ibom State to see the president. Akwa Ibom State, let's make this clear, contributes 30% of funding for the federal budget yearly of Nigeria. It receives, by most expert estimates, only 1% back. And you're lying down on the floor like a child, begging. Is Nigerian Federation just on power, on paper? By the way, Akpabio has no such powers. He has no powers to take Umoino to Tinubu. He himself begs to Tinubu. He was barely made Senate President by Bola Tinubu. He was brought in Akpabio as a puppet. Akpabio was made Senate President so that he can thump his nose. So Bola Tinubu can thump his nose at the greedy North, who after reigning for 8 years wanted to try to put up Yahaya, another corrupt Zamfara state governor as Senate President. That's how Akpabio became president. Everybody knows Akpabio does not deserve to be Senate President. So Akpabio was brought in to do the dirty job. Akpabio today answers 100% to the Southwest Tinubu cabal. People have accused Tinubu of having a cabal who decide most major federal policies and run the federal government. That Southwest Tinubu cabal, I'm very specific, it's Tinubu's cabal. Akpabio is there as Senate President as a political furniture for decoration. Doesn't he realize this? So let Governor Moino of Akwa Ibom State stop wasting Akwa Ibom resources, organizing lavish receptions when Akwa Ibom children are suffering for cunning and disingenuous political leaders like Senator Godswill Akpabio, who has been exposed in Nigeria itself as cunning and disingenuous. Why is Governor Moino, one would ask, humiliating Akwa Ibom State? Humiliating his people with this constant bowing to an Abuja that does little for Akwa Ibom. Akwa Ibom more does for Abuja than Abuja does for Akwa Ibom. Is the governor aware that we are past that era in Nigeria? Different ethnic groups have their issue, but we are past the era where Akwa Ibomites were considered house servants. That era, Akwa Ibom is no more house servant to anybody. In Akwa Ibom lingo, it is referred to as Eyenufok. Permit me to use it. Eyenufok. Eyenufok is a derogatory. What is going on with the new Akwa Ibom governor? Many are asking. Is this the expectation that it will be like this? Of his predecessor and godfather Udom Emmanuel, who handpicked him for this job and made sure he became governor? Umoino constantly, in his body language, in his words, genuflects. He kneels down in front of what he perceives to be more powerful men who run Abuja, who run Nigeria. He thinks he's inferior to them. These men have run Nigeria to the ground. These are inept men. Let me expatiate on my point by giving you another quote made at this visit from Akpabio. This quote was made by Governor Moino of Akwa Ibom State. It was made by Governor Moino of Akwa Ibom State. Let me give you another. This was a strange request. This quote is a very strange request made by Moino to Senator Akpabio. Very strange request made by Governor Moino of Akwa Ibom State. Quote. I'm quoting Moino. Your Excellency, my second request is that Akwa Ibom is blessed with oil palm. It is one of the biggest. Naturally, it just grows. Period. We want to partner with the federal government to develop our oil palm plantation, and to have an industrial oil mill in this state. I know this is the kind of thing that will also bring employment and will benefit our people. Unquote. Wow. And this man is a governor? Is Governor Moino okay? Is there something wrong with him? What partnership do you need from the federal government to simply develop your palm oil? You need partnership for that? Palm oil plantations in the East, people made billions from it in those days before the war. You don't need permission from Abuja to build oil mills. What kind of this man, look, you don't need that permission. What in God's name is wrong with Governor Moino? What in God's name is wrong with Governor Moino? According to him, this will bring employment? Really? So you need Godswill Akpabio to take you to Tinubu to help you do oil mill to bring employment. This is Akpabio who is running the Senate using Nigerian money to dollar billions of naira during Christmas to his fellow senators, telling them, check your accounts. This is Akpabio who is helping mismanage Nigerian federal economy as we speak. And you need his help to do what? This is a con job. This is a 419 of Akwa Ibom citizens. This is a deception on your part. It's a deception to other Nigerians who are viewing this political theater that you are displaying in Uyo. This sad theater between you and the garrulous Senate President, Senator Godswill Akpabio. It is a theater of the absurd. It is. It's a theater of the absurd. More. Let me just give you one more quote before I move on to, because there are other governors who mess up just like him. This quote was very offensive to Akwa Ibom citizens, but it was also offensive to many Nigerians who listened to this. Quote, saying this to Akpabio, you are our grandfather, Your Excellency. As a grandson, most times I'll be coming to have breakfast with you. So please, indulge me. And when I bring Akwa Ibom issues to your table, please look at it passionately. Unquote. This is a man that received 30 billion, 20 to 30 billion naira every month. You don't need to go to Abuja to beg Godswill or Tinubu. Governor, let me first of all on this set the record straight. Let me set the record straight first before I make my point. Senator Akpabio is not your grandfather. He's not the grandfather of Akwa Ibom people. By any chosen criteria, he's not. You, Governor Mono, you are not Akpabio's grandson. You are not. You are older than him. You are older than Godswill Akpabio. You are not his grandson. Having clarified above, let us analyze the reasons. Because some are wondering, why is he talking in this beggarly language? Why does Governor Mo, thinks he needs to kiss up to Akpabio? Why does he use this kind of language? It's like, what century is he in? I asked some Akwa Ibomites for their thoughts on above. I talked to a lot of Akwa Ibomites. I asked them across the span of politics. Many believe that he cannot help himself. Many believe that Governor Moino has brought into governance language used by modern Akpabio, by modern pastors to their flocks. Go to Uyo, that's how they talk. People in those churches refer to their political daddies as daddies, father, etc. Well, I'm here to remind Umoino that he's not the governor of Akwa Ibom State. He's not the pastor of a church. God is the father. How can a pastor be a father? The pastor cannot be a grandfather. God is our father. So they deceive people. How people in these churches call them Godfather. These genuflections and low self-esteem language must stop. At the time Akwa Ibom State is going down, the schools are dilapidated. The hospitals are terrible. And you're going around, grandfather, my father. You are not in one of these churches. This is not a good thing going on in Akwa Ibom. Let me move on to the former governor of Kogi State. What just happened? The infamous, arrogant, corrupt, and politically connected Yahaya Bello is another example. Another example of these Nigerian governors. This is a failing grade. It's a failing grade for the EFCC to try to arrest him for crimes he has committed. The alphabet agency, EFCC, it's another Nigerian agency that is now under the microscope. And the man who runs that agency, Ola Olukayode, should be ashamed of himself. Olukayode should be ashamed of himself. The handling of Tinubu's government after these weeks of the Yahaya Bello arrest is a fiasco. It is a fiasco. That handling is another example of how Nigeria does not work as a governance system. It does not work. The Nigerian Anti-Corruption Agency, EFCC, demonstrably is a weak, ineffective, from Olukayode to the bottom, to those who collect bribes, the most corrupt government agency in a weakened Nigeria. In today's Nigeria, 2024, a weakened Nigeria. That is not saying much. In a Nigerian governance system, where those who run the government, from Aso Rock to the National Assembly, are under a dark cloud of corruption. Those institutions, people run them under a dark cloud of corruption and stealing government funds from 200 million Nigerians as I speak. Nigeria is a nation clearly run by shadowy figures from the president down. And its governance system and political actors are full of contradictions. When it comes to the most destructive vice damaging Nigeria, corruption. The present sitting National Security Advisor to the president, No Ribadu, let me just give you an example. Let's go back a little bit. In September 2006, had this to say, 2006, about the sitting president. I'll use Ribadu's words. I'm quoting him directly. So he cannot deny it. He cannot say I twisted his words. No, Ribadu, he was EFCC chairman then. Let me be specific. It was quoted by Vanguard, September 28, 2006. See how specific I'm trying to be here. Obviously, I'm giving my opinions, but I need to be very clear when I give quotes or any attribution. Quote, Governor Tinubu's criminal case is of international dimension, unquote. That is after Tinubu had finished serving as governor of Lagos State. Criminal case of international dimension. Another quote, let me just give you another quote by the serving NSA, No Ribadu, who was EFCC chairman. He was quoted by the same newspaper, The Vanguard, September 28, 2006. I'm going to be like, get it right. Quote, Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu would not escape justice, but would be made to face the full wrath of the law. Unquote. This is what he said about Tinubu's activities when he was Lagos State governor. In fact, the present minister, as we speak now, is serving of solid minerals, who at that time was a lackey, a Tinubu lackey. He was serving as commissioner for information and strategy. He was a lackey then. But look at his reaction in 2006. This is how he reacted to the above statements Ribadu made. He reacted to EFCC's investigation because those statements were after EFCC's investigation of Tinubu. So this quote in 2006 is from Dele Alake, the present minister of solid minerals, where there's a lot of corruption too. Solid minerals is a disgrace. Quote, it is no surprise at all that Asiwaju Tinubu's name featured prominently in the EFCC report. What would have been news? Is if his name was missing from that report. Bola Tinubu has been a constant target of the federal government because of his persistent fight to deepen democracy. I can't even help myself but laugh. Rule of law, and most especially fiscal federalism period. That is BS. That is BS. Unquote. That is it's all over the place. What I'm quoting to you is 17 years ago. This was 17 years ago. These characters, they have come full circle. They're running Nigeria today. No, they are helping run down Nigeria today because that's what Tinubu is doing with people like Dele Alake. These people have captured the Nigerian state. Tinubu and his boys. They have captured the state. Are you following me about the Nigerian political actors? Umoino, Bola Tinubu, I even had to go back. Are you sensing the reasons why an accused thief like Yahaya Bello is playing games with the EFCC or played games with the EFCC or Nigeria in general? Today, I don't see him punished. If you are unconvinced, let me go down the sitting leadership ladder of Nigeria today. The Senate President, Godswill Akpabio, as we speak, today, Sunday, May 5th, has existing cases with the EFCC. He was arrested several times in the past. Since 2015, EFCC has arrested him several times. In fact, as recently as last year, just before he was brought in as Senate President, a few weeks to his selection, because he was elected as Senate President, he was summoned, think about this, summoned to the agency over recent charges they were preparing against him. Just a couple of weeks. So they're quickly electing him. Let me quote the news report. I like to put it in quotes so that you kind of know I'm not just talking off the top of my head. Quote, Mr. Akpabio, a former governor of Akwa State, this last year, was earlier invited by the EFCC in March. But Mr. Kalu, in a letter to the commission, Kalu is his lawyer, by the way, dated 27 March, said his client would not be able to honor the invitation due to scheduled medical appointment overseas. Wow. According to Mr. Kalu's letter, this is the letter he wrote to EFCC. See how big men in Nigeria, they get to do what they like. The senator-elect was suffering from pneumonia. pneumonia, and cardiac arrhythmia. Throwing medical terminologies all over the place. And was advised to seek medical treatment abroad. Unquote. See? He had pneumonia. Where is the evidence? Where is the case history? He used these well-worn tactics. This is a well-worn tactics by Nigerian politicians. They lie about their health when confronted with their corruption to evade accountability for stolen money. They do not want to account for money they've stolen. This is a game they play over and over. Of course, in a couple of weeks, Tinubu made sure that Godswill was elected as Senate president. And the illness miraculously dissipated. Phew. Suddenly Akpabio was well. Gone was the pneumonia. In fact, that EFCC chief was fired by Tinubu. Think about this is like Animal Farm. He was fired by the incoming president. And the talk about Akpabio's pneumonia vamoosed into thin air. Vamoosed. Back to the disgusting white lion, Yahaya Bello. They call him white lion. The lion is about how he's deceiving his people. That's the lionship. Not for anything he really did. This is a man, Yahaya Bello, who deposited close to $1 million American, about $800,000, to a private school in Nigeria. Let me repeat, American dollars, not Naira, as a down payment for children yet unborn. Today he's enjoying in Nigeria, visiting, I'm sure he's visiting Godswill, Akpabio and all that. Walking free because EFCC and Bola Tinubu, the Nigerian president, seems scared to let him be made accountable. Is this not unbelievable? This is 2024, ladies and gentlemen. This is 2024. My name is Offiong Akwa. Welcome to the 7th Offiong Akwa Speaks podcast series. Podcast series called Offiong Akwa Speaks. So as you can see there, we are focusing on the disingenuity of these governors. Yahaya Bello is the example that we were trying to look at. His relationship to the country and EFCC. We are going to further in this broadcast try to ask and answer a lot of questions by many Nigerians about why the EFCC always announce arrests and like clockwork back away hours before they commence the arrest. It is a waste of breath, for example, expecting that the criminal Yahaya Bello, allegedly former Kogi State governor, will ever see a prison cell or will be held accountable for stealing his state, Kogi State, dry. Let me start by giving you a couple of recent quotes and exchanges about the ineptness of Nigerian anti-corruption agencies, which is why these governors are going crazy, and why EFCC should be scrapped, shut down in the interest of ordinary powerless Nigerians. This is a quote from a very popular columnist, Festus Adedayo, a very articulate and well-known Nigerian columnist. Quote, on the Yahaya Bello case. Last week, after obtaining a court warrant, last week, a few weeks before, on the allegation of an 82 billion naira fraud, viral videos showed the commission's futile efforts to arrest Bello at his Wuse Zone 4 Abuja home. I'm just going through what we have already seen happen in the country. The world watched the circus of our national shame. I mean, look at the drama. Just to get this type of person arrested. This helplessness showed by the EFCC in bringing Yahaya Bello to book does the puts the Nigerian state in a position of shame. So the state does not even possess the monopoly of violence anymore. Where is the Nigerian state with these people behaving this way? What can explain how an alleged felon can outwit the full complement of the arsenal of the state? This is Nigeria of 2024. Another quote. Then came the melodrama starring ex-Governor Bello and the EFCC. Last week, after obtaining a court warrant for his arrest on this allegation of 82 billion. So let me be very specific, 82 billion fraud. Viral videos showed him playing games with the EFCC at his house in Wuse Zone 4, Abuja. The world watched the circus, and it was not pretty. It was not pretty. In fact, the guy that Bello installed as governor was protecting him, Usman Ododo. Usman Ododo actually sneaked into Bello's house to rescue Bello from, imagine, he used Nigerian forces to rescue Bello from the other Nigerian forces using his official car and whisked Bello away from the EFCC. Rather than provoke laughter, the circus induced hot streams of tears. What do you do in this circumstance? As a country, what is the response? I leave it up to Nigerians. That is all for today. But remember to look out for my next broadcast, which will highlight more of Nigerian governors. It will continue examining the ignominious role of these Nigerian governors in a collapsing state, their role in the decrepit Nigerian governance system. We have been crying ourselves hoarse that this system does not work. I am Offiong Akwa. So I conclude by thanking you for watching and listening to my podcasts. Subscribe, write, comment, repost, and share them with your family and friends. Goodbye. Ciao. Peace to you and yours. Bye-bye.